So first one is Clasp, the command line app script tool here. And we can see down the bottom here, 3 weeks ago, we had an update. So if you have a look at releases, why is this a big deal? Well, the last release was in September of 2022. And now we've got a release now over 3 years later. So that's fairly significant. So what's involved in this Clasp release? So if you don't, actually before we start, if you don't know, let's just jump into a terminal. Clear that out. Okay, so if you're in a terminal or if you're in Windows shell, then you can run npm update and then G at Google select Clasp, and that will get the latest version of Clasp for you. So if you run that, and because I'm running on WSL, it will take a fair while, but it didn't. And let's have a look at the version. So Clasp B. This is what takes forever. And it's an interesting thing too, like when I run WSL for Clasp, it sits there and thinks for ages and ages and ages. So I don't know if it's some Node.js thing or something to do with the packages and how they relate to the Ubuntu instance that I have in WSL too. But as you can see, it takes forever. So we could probably even spin up a command line one. And look, I think I've already got it here. If I just go, Clasp, I've also updated this one. There you go. It's near on instant. It's just milliseconds as opposed to 41 seconds that took. Bizarre. But anyway, not the point of this, but just an interesting thing. Let me know if you don't have that problem and it's just something to do with me. Okay, so now we know we've got Clasp up and running here. Okay, so what are we going to get from this? So add support for custom redirect ports in Clasp login. Let's have a look there. This pull request introduces a new feature that allows users to specify a custom redirect port for the Clasp login command using the -- redirect -port flag. Additionally, it updates package -lock JSON due to dependency changes during the development process. So we might have a look at this in the README file. Might give some more details. Okay, so when we have the Clasp login, no localhost credentials, so the file, status, and redirect from when we do our initial login. It says specify a custom port for the local redirect server during the login process, useful for environments where a specific port is required. Yeah, so if you've got, yeah, that makes sense. So if you have other ports running server instances and it's trying to use a port, I don't know, 3000 or something, then you will get some conflicts, right? But this allows us to set a custom port that we know isn't being used in our server to log in. Okay, good change. All right, just bug fixes. Don't write files on clone if unable to fetch the project. Okay, that's probably a time saver bug fix, which is good. So what was the expected behavior? Do not create a Clasp.json file when a Clasp clone command fails for some reason. For example, invalid script ID or login. This means that so this would be good because if you make a mistake and put in the wrong ID or URL, and it will generate the JSON Clasp.json file, and then you try and do it again, that file's already existing with the existing details in it. So it's going to create that after it validates to make sure that everything's good, and it means you aren't scratching your head wondering what's going on or wasting your time deleting that file out before you start again. Class JSON file is created whenever a class clone command is run, regardless of the success or failure of the output. That's a good bug fix. Rethrow errors, so a command exists with error status. Let's have a look at that one. We don't need these ones anymore. Simple issue. It seems that Clasp doesn't set error level in Windows in case of failure. That's how it looks. Okay, so yeah, not a tidy error code. And see what Steve says here. So it is supposed to be setting the error code at this line here. I wonder if we can port straight into that line with that link. $388 was it? Somewhere around here. Okay, so yep. So we had the stop spinner here. Easiest fix is to rethrow the error and push files. Nice, so that's a good change that came in too. So it's handling for a Windows condition, is that right? Separation class doesn't seem to set error level in Windows, yeah. Nice, so some good changes. They made it up to so there was a feature change, so that's where they put the second version in here, a 2.5. 3 years change, so that's excellent. So it just shows that Clasp is being monitored and it is up to date. Which was, if you see something lag for this amount of time, it's either perfect, which it isn't, or it's being abandoned. But with Steve at the helm, it's being well looked after. Good job, Steve.